have no goals, have no asks, have no objectives other than to see the 8 of us suffer some consequence for having removed McCarthy. So we've made them an offer. The 8 of us have said that we are willing to accept censure, sanction, suspension, removal from the Republican conference. We, of course, will remain Republicans. We will continue to vote with Republicans on Republican principles. But if what these holdouts need is a pound of our flesh, we're willing to give it to them in order to see them elect Jim Jordan for Speaker.
The world's on fire, and some of these colleagues say,
That's
the world's on fire, and some of your colleagues do blame you for this disruption.
Well, I would say that we've got a speaker designate. We could elect him. We could have a speaker right now. And, you know, I think the world was on fire when America sat atop a $33 trillion debt with no plan to reduce spending. I think the world was on fire as we watched the dollar just continue to slip away in its status as the global reserve currency. So maybe when the lobbyists and the special interests don't have total control of a Speaker of the House, they think the world is on fire and in chaos. But we actually believe this is governing, this is legislating, this is working through our differences. We believe Jim Jordan is an inspirational Republican candidate for House Speaker. And for those who are holding out, we would simply ask, you know, what do you want other than for us to suffer some consequence which we stand ready to endure?
For 9.5 months, the Republican Party failed the American people. We delivered no wins for the American people in the first 9.5 months. The two opportunities we had to force positive change for the American people with the Democrat Senate and Democrat White House was the debt ceiling and the continuing resolution, both of which we did what Democrats overwhelmingly wanted us to do. Jim Jordan represents a chance to put a fighter and a leader at the top of the Republican conference that will actually work for the American people instead of the special interests.
Congressman, those that you're talking about, you say that they just want to punish you. But when I talk to them, they say that they have real problems with Jim Jordan, that they see strong-arm tactics, they see the way he treated Steve Scalise, they don't trust him. They're saying the same things you said about Kevin McCarthy. How do you not respect that kind of point of view?
Well, we know Jim Jordan. I've worked with Jim Jordan on the House Judiciary Committee. He's not a person who leads through strong-arm tactics. I think that Jim Jordan is being unfairly blamed by some for the tactics of outside groups that Jim Jordan has no control over. You know, we want to meet with our colleagues. We want to understand how they can get to a comfort level with Jim Jordan. You know, we in January allowed the ascent of Kevin McCarthy to the speakership. We had specific goals. When, you know, those promises were made to meet those goals, we were willing to work with the team. So our call is to our fellow Republicans to vote with the team, work with the team, help us elect a Republican speaker.
And hold on real quick. How can you say that these are strong-arm tactics? How can anybody say strong-arm tactics? We've had, 3 votes in the entire week? Back in January, you guys remember, it was vote after vote after vote after vote. Jim holds 1 vote, and then he goes and he tries to talk to these folks. And here's the other thing about Jim Jordan. I hear a lot in this conference about, oh, you got to support the team, you got to support the conference, you got to support the majority. What do the American people say? Are you guys hearing what the American people are saying? He is the number 2 most popular Republican in the entire country. The vast majority of Americans want Jim Jordan. And one of the problems in this town is a lot of the representatives up here don't really care what the American people have to say about it.
The American people certainly say they want a speaker.
Kevin McCarthy back in January only lost votes for 9 rounds. It wasn't until the 12th round that he gained even 1 vote. Jim Jordan has had 3 votes. He's got roughly 200 Republicans supporting him. And so I guess it sounds better to smear Jim Jordan, to blame him for the actions of others that he does not control, than to tell your constituents that you don't want to vote for the person that they want to lead the party and that you want to vote to continue to represent the special interests in Washington instead of the grassroots Republicans who gave us the majority.
It's heading the wrong way.
I just pointed out to you, Kevin McCarthy lost votes for 9 rounds. Jim Jordan has been voted upon for 3 rounds. Kevin McCarthy did not gain 1 vote until the 12th round when 14 out of 20 members flipped their vote. And yet folks want to report that, hey, Jim Jordan has no path to victory after 2 rounds, now 3 rounds. We believe that if we keep voting, Jim Jordan will be elected speaker.
And let me make a point. This is not about us. This is bigger than us. That's why we're offering ourselves on this thing. So I think that needs to be made clear. It's not about the 435. It's about the 8 of us saying this is what we'll do.
Are you all concerned at all that changes going on? Some in your party will try to work with Democrats to pass a resolution to empower the speaker pro tem.
That's always an option, but I just don't see that. And why would Hakeem Jeffries, who's on record of denying multiple elections. Why would he, if he had that working in secret, why would he disclose that to the public? That's just to cast doubt. And you know, it's Pavlov's dog. He rings the bell and everybody comes to run salivating. And it's just not accurate.
Republicans across the country should take note that when Patrick McHenry read his own number of votes that he received, the Democrat side of the chamber cheered roundly for that. So,
would you support a resolution to remove Patrick McHenry as Speaker pro tem?
I think he's doing a fine job as Speaker pro tem. He needs to stay in that role and do his one job, which is also our primary job, which is elect the Speaker.
And by the way, Speaker McHenry pro tem deserves credit for resisting calls to expand the pro tem role beyond how it is contemplated in the Constitution. Patrick McHenry has earned our respect for having abided by the limitations on the power of the pro tem position, and for that, he should be commended.
And just to clarify, what are the things that you're willing to do? You said removed from conference, removed from committees. What is that?
Well, you know, we're eager to better understand how those who are unwilling to vote for Jim Jordan would react to our willingness to accept some consequence. We violated no rules of the House. We violated no rules of the House Republican Conference
That were voted on unanimously.
Yeah, but if
Kevin McCarthy voted for these rules.
yeah, but if what people need is to see, you know, the 8 of us wrapped on the knuckles in order to get on to the business of governing, what we're saying is we're open-minded to that.
We believe what we did was right. We stand behind what we did. We believe the Republican Party, the Republican Conference needs to change. Congress needs to change. However, if we're the reason that the conference can't come together and elect our Speaker designee, then we're willing to submit ourselves to whatever consequence.
Committee assignments.
Well, we've said if you were removed from the conference, I suppose that would mean that you would lose your committee assignments, but we would remain proud members of the Republican Party as nominated by our respective districts. We share the Republican Party's stated objectives and values, but we're telling the conference if they want to bring consequence to us individually, and if that would help them to elect Jim Jordan as Speaker, then we're willing to submit to that.
You mentioned that they should just continue to keep voting, that Mr. McCarthy went 15 rounds and he was inevitably elected
We need to
Speaker.
keep voting.
Now, Mr. Nels came out here and said that his 4th vote is going to be for Mr. Trump. Are you worried that more of your colleagues are going to flip in some other direction?
Well, I'm pretty sure Troy Nels isn't going to stand between Jim Jordan and the
That's right.
speakership. I've got a pretty high confidence.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you all so much.